Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. We have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started because I want to save some time for the end of the class to talk to everyone and answer any questions that come up. So go ahead and as questions come up, go ahead and type them in the chat. I'm going to go back over those at the end and answer anyone's questions. So today we're going to talk about the secret message in your child's behavior. And when you learn the secret message, you can reconnect and deepen the sacred relationship between parent and child. And if you stay to the very end of the webinar, there's a surprise reading for you. There's going to be a free gift, so stay tuned because it's going to be yours. So when we're talking about relationships, let's face it, living in close proximity is challenging, and it requires cooperation from everyone in the house, no matter if they're 3 years old or 30 years old. And when you can understand who your child is and can easily communicate with your child, that's when you can deepen the connection that you have with your child. And you start to have more fun with the inside of these relationships. And most importantly is you will begin to positively influence them as they grow. So being a strong, effective parent today requires a new way of thinking about parents than what probably your parents did or their parents did. So who am I? I'm Kristin Shorter. These are my lovely rascals. I am a certified family coach facilitator, a parent educator, a parent coach, a quantum alignment practitioner level 3, a human design specialist level 4, a best-selling co-author of Abundance by Design, and I have my bachelor's degree in psychology. And none of that compares to the education my children have given me throughout the years. So my oldest daughter is now 19, and then her brothers are 11 and 12 right now. You know, the minute you became a parent, your whole world changes. And I'm the first to admit, I am not a perfect parent, but I am a passionate mom, and I'm passionate about instilling the skills that my children are going to need to go out into the world and be successful and have successful relationships. And like many of you, I believe that parenting is by far the most sacred and courageous adventure you'll ever have, hands down. But it can be riddled with judgment and rejection and self-doubt and uncertainty. And as parents, we can sometimes get stuck in one way of parenting, or at least that's what has happened to me in the past. And if parenting were as easy as a one-size-fits-all approach, then all of our children would eat their veggies and be respectful and be happy and sleep through the night and make friends and have successful careers and stay safe. But the truth is, it's not a one-size-fits-all. And that's why parenting is so crucial, because it's easy to get overwhelmed and burn out with all that comes with caring for your family and providing for your family, cleaning the house, cleaning your children, clothing them, sheltering them, feeding them, educating them, instilling values in them, socializing them, chauffeuring your family around. The list goes on and our time flies by. But as your child goes through different life stages, if you don't update your parenting skills, you can create a disconnect that grows into a detachment. And I'm going to take a quick pause here because I saw something I just want to check out. Okay, looks like we're good. So first and foremost, when we're updating our parenting skills, we need to understand who is this child, like who our child really is. What temperament do they have? Because you probably already know this, whatever works with one child may not work with another child. I have one child that his skin is so thick, I could do or say anything and we just laugh. But then I have another son that's very sensitive. And so I can't joke around with him the same way that I can with my other child. There's other ways that we bond and cultivate our relationship. And that all plays into their personality traits. You know, what type of personality traits does your child have? Are they frightened easily? Are they too fearless? You know, understanding their personality is going to support you so that you can understand and continue to cultivate that important sacred relationship. Knowing what's age and developmentally appropriate is going to really support you because, for example, it's normal for a 4-year-old to lie, cheat, and steal. Why? Because around the age of 4, the brain starts developing the limbic system. And this is the system that controls the emotion, the ability to think abstractly. Therefore, they start developing their imagination and their conscience. And so they have to learn to lie, and they have to learn how it makes them feel in order not to do it. And if you shame a child for lying, then 2 things will happen. Either they're going to learn to hide the lie better, right? Or if they ever see mommy or daddy lying, then they lose respect for us as parents because there's this contradiction. And so instead, if you know that these things are normal, then you can kind of detach from it in a healthy way and talk to your child and ask them questions about their actions instead of overreacting and over-parenting, which I'm the first to admit I have done before, right? You know, it's normal for a teenager to challenge the family values and become distant. They will go out into their peer group and they're going to test the values that they've been given at home. And if those values hold up, or if they adopt new values, but then realize those new values that they've adopted don't feel good, you know, they're going to come back to those values that have laid the foundation when they were young. And learning, and so that's how they're going to be learning to uphold those values when they go out into the world and when they start creating new relationships. Sometimes we don't always see who our child is, and that's because we have so many filters that we view the world from. You know, just you're a parent, you're a mom, you know, you're a wife, a sister, you're you know, an employee, you're a business worker, you're a friend. You know, there's all these hats that we're wearing, and our personal conditioning is going to come into play. You know, the way that our parents have parented us, the way that we had to, the society that we grew up in, the culture that we grew up in, our personal experiences as we've matured, as we've gone through different life stages. You know, whoever we're supposed to be versus who we actually are. You know, all those things are going to influence the way that we see our child. And so having the awareness and removing the filters is going to really allow us to see our children for who they are right now and let them grow and to who they will become. So first, we've got to understand their behavior is not what defines them. And when we understand that, that's when we can really create a deeper love, a deeper respect, where we can honor each other and create a lasting bond that they pass to their children and to future generations. So the second thing we need to talk about is that you probably already know this. Your children are always communicating with you. Are you listening? Because talking isn't necessarily communicating. You know, they are watching what you do. They're watching to make sure that what mommy says and what mommy does is congruent, right? And they are, you know, since birth, you've held them like a foot away from your face. They know every micro expression, every facial expression. They innately understand what's going on with you, your energy, your body language, your gestures, the tone of your voice, the way your eye contacts them. You know, if you're giving them mean eyes or loving eyes, you know, how you touch them. You know, children need 8 to 10 meaningful touches a day. And those touches are responsible for building safety, for building trust, for soothing them and giving them that care and that love that they need. And so everything that we're doing is communicating with our children. And why is communication so powerful? Well, one, how do we measure our happiness? We measure on how connected we feel. And how do we measure how connected we feel? By how much we know about our friends and our family, or how we communicate, right? So let me ask you, if you don't know what's going on with your kids at school, or maybe some other with their friends, some other area going on in their life, how does that feel? It feels like there's this gap, there's this distance. And if that persists, it can become an unhealthy detachment. But communication can close that gap, and it can form a bond that lasts and gives them the foundation that they need to create powerful relationships and to always, always come back to you, their parent, and know that you have their back, that mom and dad are going to be there for them and want the best for them, and their advice is going to be for them, not for anyone else. So what beliefs are you communicating about your child? A belief is a thought that you keep thinking, and it stimulates a physiological response in the brain called the reticular activating system. Now, the RAS makes the brain more efficient by collecting evidence to support whatever it's thinking. So when you believe that your child's forgetful, you start collecting evidence to that fact. And that broadcasts that belief through your words, your body language, your gestures, your facial expression, subconsciously. And your child's reticular activation system gets activated. And therefore, they start to believe your thought that they're forgetful. And now they're going to start living out that expectation that they are forgetful. And as that belief persists and continues, it could possibly get reinforced. Like when your child gets special attention or special help because they're forgetful. And so now why would they want to quit being forgetful, right? Because I get mommy or daddy's special attention. And as a side note, this is why nurturing yourself as a parent and taking care of yourself is so vital, because you have to have the energy to control your mindset and the energy to hold positive beliefs about your family and about your children so that they can meet those expectations. So what's the quickest way to change your relationship? It's easy. Just change your mind, right? It's so simple. Okay, I'm being facetious. But we as parents are a big influence on our children's happiness and behavior. And I want to share a brief story about Stephen Covey, who is the author of the 7 Highly Effective Habits of Families. This is a guy who has 9 kids, so he kind of knows what he's talking about. He had one son that wasn't turning in his homework, wasn't behaving in class. The teacher was calling him and complaining about the son. At home, he was instigating arguments and fights with his siblings. He wasn't doing his chores. He wasn't being responsible. And he was becoming more and more distant. Before Stephen and his wife ever had a conversation with this child, they knew that they had to change their mind about him. They had to change their expectations. And what they did was, after their son fell asleep, they went into his room at the foot of his bed, and they just thought and projected the expectations that they had for their son. And without ever having a conversation about their son's behavior, within 2 weeks, their son started turning in his homework assignments and started, respecting the teacher more, and the teacher quit calling and started helping around the house and cooperating with his brothers and his sisters and his family, and started showering. And if you have teenagers, you know how important hygiene can be, right? And it got to the point where he became took so much initiative that he started his own lawn mowing business. And that was all from the power that we have when we change our mind about our children, when we change our expectations about them. And so I have a little exercise you can do. You want to write a love letter to yourself and write your child a loving letter. And do it so that you can focus on the positive qualities of what's working, so that those positive expectations are the ones that get lived out. And do this frequently, do this so that you can always have the energy and the mindset that you need to have so that your children can live up to those positive expectations. Okay, I'm just going to check something real quick. Okay. So there are lots of forms of communication, but another form of communication that we want to talk about now are not only the beliefs that you're communicating about your child, but their behavior, because behavior is a form of communication. And when your children's emotional needs or physical needs don't get met, or they don't understand, or they can't explain their feelings, they use their behavior as their voice, okay? And as children mature, if they don't learn to communicate when their emotional needs are not met or what's going on with them, then they continue to act out or misbehave as a form of communication, and through puberty and into adulthood. And so at this, impressionable age, they're still learning what emotions mean and why they have them and how intense they can be. And they're still learning how to give them a voice. And whenever we understand that their behavior is a form of communication, then we start asking the question, what are you saying? What's going on? And so first and foremost, there's a little secret that's going to help you whenever you are getting frustrated or irritated by your child's behavior. First and foremost, all behavior has a positive intent. All behavior has a positive intent. And so if your child is misbehaving, if they're acting out, the intent behind it is positive. It's to get a need met. It's to ask for help. And so if we take communication and we categorize it into two groups, one group is a cry for help and the other group is a loving response. If you talk to your child and you ask them about their day and they snap at you, is that a cry for help or is that a loving response? Knowing that that behavior has a positive intent, we can immediately realize, hey, they're asking for help. Something's going on with them. And ask yourself, what's going on with my child to respond that way? And ask your child, hey, you normally don't respond to me that way. You're very short right now. I'm curious what happened. I'm here if you want to talk about it. What's going on? And whenever you can understand that that emotional need is getting met by behavior, maybe whenever they snap at you, and typically it turns into an argument and they get your attention, and now that they have your attention, they feel loved, for a brief time. Even though it's an inappropriate way to get attention, they got that attention that they needed and their cup got filled up a little bit. And now, their behavior changes. But instead of jumping at them and coming back with your own cry for help, return a loving response. Respond with your own loving response whenever they're crying for help. And understand and ask yourself, is there an emotional need being met by this behavior? Is this a physical need? Like, are they hungry? Are they tired? Are they stressed out? There's a lot of physical things going on as well. And when you can understand that your child is on a deeper level is going through something, then that's when you can really teach them how to communicate their needs so that they don't act out and they don't become codependent. Instead, they get help and they learn how to talk about it and they learn how to get their physical and their emotional needs met, And another side note, this is also, again, why nurturing yourself is so vital, so that you can have the energy, the control, the mindset to be the guide and show your child how to deal with whatever's going on with them in an appropriate way. So, you take time to understand your child's signals. Just like whenever your child was an infant, was a baby, It cried a certain way when it was hungry, and it cried a different way when it was tired. And it cried another way when it needed to be burped, and it cried another way when it had gas, and it cried another way when it was uncomfortable. You know, all of those cries were signaling to you how to help your child. And then think of behavior as the same way. It's a signal. You know, it's because there's an emotional need or a physical need that's not getting met. Now, if your child is hangry, you know, if they're so hungry that they get angry, they're hangry. Are they tired? Are they stressed? What emotions are they experiencing? What are they going through? All of that is going to support them so that they can learn to talk about that. And imagine the level of communication and the sophisticated communication that they're going to be able to have inside of the relationships that they create out in the world. You know, the reason we have emotions is because there's a message inside of them, right? It's a powerful thing. And if you don't get the message that's in the emotion, then the emotion will persist. And if we stuff the emotion down and ignore it, the emotion will persist. So teaching your children how to listen to their emotions and receive the messages that emotions have for us so that they don't run away from their emotions and they meet their emotions with understanding. And then they can learn how to express emotions in a healthy and an appropriate way. So for example, if your child is feeling fear, you know, maybe they have a personality type where instead of being fearless, they are very afraid, very fearful. Well, let's start understanding that, like, this is a message. Your body's telling you something. Your fear is either is it going to shut you down, or is it going to get you prepared for something? You know, if we're afraid, it's because we're not prepared. And so asking our children, like, how are you going to handle this emotion, and what message do you think this emotion is telling you, and how can you get prepared so that you don't feel the fear anymore? Talking about emotions with your children, like asking them, are you feeling sad or angry? Because sometimes whenever a child is going on a rampage, they're not angry, they're sad. You know, getting them to understand and decipher the intricate differences that emotions hold. You know, are you scared? Are you excited? And what thought did you have before the emotion? Or what experience, what happened to you before you got that emotion? It's all going to help your child gain that self-awareness so that they can figure out how they want to handle the emotion. And if you as a parent want to support your child, instead of just telling them what to do, ask them, what would happen if, and then fill in the blank. Or you can even tell your child, like, I have a suggestion. Do you want to hear it? And if they're not ready to hear it, then wait. Wait for them to come to you. Wait for them to ask you for advice. What we find is that there are 4 emotional needs that when they're not met, children will misbehave. And those 4 needs are legitimate needs that never go away no matter how old you are, okay? And these emotional needs compel kids and adults, by the way, if they don't learn how to talk about their emotions and deal with their emotions and get their emotional needs met, it causes them to act out. And so the emotional need for attention is this very legitimate human need. It never goes away. It's always with us. As human beings, we're very social. We need that interaction and that stimulus. We have the second emotional need is the need to feel powerful and in control of our lives, you know, and as soon as a child starts learning how to be potty trained, they feel very powerful because it's the first thing that they really have a lot of control over. And then they start saying no, you know, and, you know, as adults, instead of saying no, we might start giving ultimatums, right? If we don't learn how to get our emotional needs met. The emotional need to be loved unconditionally and to feel capable, to feel like you're able to go out into the world and have the confidence to explore and experiment. So why do kids act out? It's because they don't feel loved. They don't feel valued. They don't know what to do, you know, especially if they're going through a certain growth spurt. They're going to have a lot of emotions, a lot of growing, and the brain is recalibrating itself. If they feel powerless, if they're scared, if they don't trust themselves, or if they don't feel it's safe to be themselves, if they don't feel like it's safe to speak up or to talk, that children should be seen and not heard, then kids are going to act out. If they're hungry, if they're tired, if they're stressed or frustrated, if there's a physical ailment going on, your child is going to act out. They're going to communicate to you, hey, something's going on. So why don't kids get their, emotional needs met? When kids don't have the vocabulary or understand their emotions, they use their behavior to cry out for help. So imagine the next time your child is acting out, maybe they're making a huge mess and they left their Legos out everywhere. And instead of thinking, oh my God, this is so annoying right now, there's this mess and now I have to scream at them to clean it up. What if you now believed, my child's asking me for help. My child if I typically scream at this child to clean up their Legos, they're getting an emotional need met from me. What need is that? And when you can find appropriate ways and teach them how to get that need met, then those messes don't occur and the acting out stops. And, if your child is feeling scared or not loved, they can come to you and they can tell you that. They can tell you that, they didn't feel loved when you said something to them, or when you gave them mean mommy eyes. And then you can support your child, and because they came to you and they told you that, you can adore them with love so that they do feel loved and they know that nothing ever changes mommy's love, and they can always come to you and talk about these things. I mean, imagine how that would change the way that you responded to your child. The next time that they start throwing a huge temper tantrum on the floor, you're like, what emotional need are they trying to get right now, right? Because you can see that they're just asking you for help. They're not trying to, be bad in any way. They're just requesting your help. So sometimes people think, but my child's old enough to tell me what's going on. Yeah, but if your child never learned or never understood how to talk about their emotions, or they didn't feel like it was safe for them to talk about what's going on, or they felt like they would get ignored, no matter what age they are, they might not be able to tell you what's going on with them. So when we start, as the parents, start interpreting their behavior, that's whenever we can really support them in understanding how to talk about their emotions, how to figure out what's going on with them. And this is one of the reasons why I created the Mommy Hacks parenting class, because done right, parenting is more fun, more rewarding, and more fulfilling than anything you ever do. And this is a unique, holistic process of understanding and parenting your child that's going to allow you to systematically understand your child, structure your parental discipline in such a way as to truly teach your child and empower them. So before I introduce the class, please understand 3 things. 1, I would never recommend a product or a service to you that I didn't believe in with all my heart. It would make your life significantly better. I would never recommend a product or service to you if I didn't believe that. Secondly, I would never recommend a product or service to you that I would not use myself, okay? And 3, my commitment to you and to all my parenting clients is that I will always put your best interest above my own personal desire for gain. And it's on that basis that I've built a thriving business that gives me the honor and the privilege of serving thousands of parents like you. Today, this service I'd like to recommend is a service I believe in with every fiber of my being. It is, in fact, a service I have recommended to my family and my friends. They love it, and it's what I use in my family. The Mommy Hacks Parenting Class, because your child is magnificently unique, and each child has their own individual parenting needs. And your challenge is to figure that all out by identifying and addressing all these needs without a manual, right? You don't get instruction manuals when our kids are born. We don't have a one-size-fits-all approach. Sometimes we don't even have a mentor or a role model. And having a method of disciplining your child that will ultimately teach them how to be self-empowered, how to feel lovable, how to be capable, is the goal of parenting. So what you should know about this class. In this class, I'm going to talk about how to deal with sibling conflict. If you're struggling getting your kids to do their homework or their chores and other common parenting challenges, there is an easy technique that works and it's incredibly efficient, and your children can do it by themselves after you teach them how to do it. The system has effective strategies to tame tantrums, to overcome parental challenges, and it's going to help your child mature at every age and every life stage, because you're going to understand where they're at developmentally. It has practical strategies that calm the chaos while teaching your child to be respectful, and how to get your children to cooperate without screaming, begging, bribing, or pulling your hair out. You know, one of the things that we learned since birth is we are competing for mom and dad's attention. You know, especially if you have siblings, you compete with your siblings for mom and dad's attention. And then you go to school. And while you're in school, you're competing academically or athletically. And then you go to college and you continue to compete. You know, you might even compete socially. Who's more popular? Who has more friends? Who gets invited to more parties? Who gets more Facebook likes? And then you go into the workforce and you continue to compete. But then you're supposed to find a relationship and build a family and cooperate. Yet we were never really taught in depth how to cooperate. And this class is all about teaching your kids how to cooperate inside of the family unit so that they can take that skill and they can apply it in their life, in school, in sports, you know, in college, it's socially, and in their career. And so that they can have even more success because they know how to cooperate and they know how to do things by themselves independently. This class increases your child's self-esteem and their cooperation skills. It teaches why punishments don't work and what to do instead. Because when punishments don't work, you know, you can't hit your child anymore. You know, you can't ground them anymore if it doesn't work. But what to do instead so that it does work, and so that you teach your child how to be intrinsically motivated instead of extrinsically, instead of being motivated that they're going to get, you know, a fear of something or they're going to get a reward. How to have children who are motivated from within instead of relying on external circumstances. How to interpret your child's misbehavior and use it as a platform for true learning. How to understand that, oh, I know exactly what this behavior is telling me. And here, the emotional need that my child's requesting from me is attention. It's power. It's to feel lovable. It's to feel capable. And teaching them how to use those words so that they can come to you next time instead of misbehaving and using misbehavior as their voice. There's no confusion. I designed this class to be implemented easily because a happy mom means a happy family, right? And it's so affordable, you'll laugh. Seriously, I created the system to be cheap so that every parent can get it. And you're going to receive everything you need to start being a strong, effective parent immediately, because there's quick, easy techniques that you can use with your kids when your kids want to argue, when they're not doing their chores, when they're not doing their homework. I have a lot of videos in there. They contain more techniques that you can use on every child at every age, so that no matter what age it is, you know, you're enjoying parenting your kids, even teenagers. And I have a teenager, remember? We got through the teenage years with this. There's PDFs and handouts of strategies so that you can print them out, you can post them on your refrigerator, or you can just have them on your phone so that you know exactly what to do in any situation. And these are character building habits. You know, this is so you're teaching your child to be capable, to be independent at every age and every life stage. You're going to help them find appropriate ways so that they feel powerful and they are able to express the beauty of their true selves. They're not afraid to be themselves. They feel safe. They feel capable. They can go out into the world and experiment. And that means that you have to parent in a way that supports the evolution of these beautiful souls that are in our lives and still know how to get them to bed on time, eat their veggies, say please, say thank you, make good educational choices, and generally develop the skills necessary to be able to navigate successful relationships and careers when they go out into the world. And I want this journey to be a source of joy and happiness and pride for you. So get your Mommy Hacks parenting class now. I know that the Mommy Hacks parenting class will transform your relationships and help you connect more deeply and enjoy parenting even more, because I've done it with my children, my friends have done it with their children, and I have clients who can testify to that. And today I've decided to make it so affordable every parent can get it, and it's my personal guarantee to you, because parenting is the most important job on the planet. And as a parent, you mean the world to me and all the important work you're doing with your family by raising a family. And I would never ask you to take a financial risk in doing business with me. So here's my guarantee to you. When you sign up today, go through the videos, go through the modules, print out the PDFs that I'm going to send you. And if you are not thrilled with everything that you receive, send me an email anytime during the next 60 days, and I will immediately refund you 100% of your money. So the class is $19.95. I'm going to put a link into the chat box. And if anyone has any comments or any questions, I'm going to also address those right now. And you'll have a free gift if y'all are here. So if y'all are still on the call, you're going to get a free gift. And this gift is it's a special technique that you're going to be able to use to solve all arguments with your child, no matter what age they are, okay? This works great when kids are frustrated or they feel like they aren't getting their power needs met, and it's really easy and simple to do. And so my free gift to you is right here. And let me also give you the link to the Mommy Hacks parenting class, which is $19.95. So Kristin, this is an amazing price, and I wonder if you will be offering any one-time Zoom call with this course signing up. Yes, so if you sign up by Sunday, and there's going to be an email going out tomorrow, I am going to include 3 bonuses. One is going to be another PDF handout flowchart so that as soon as you understand what's going on with your child, and based on whatever misbehavior they're doing, however they're acting out, you're going to be able to immediately say, look at the flowchart and know what emotional need your child is trying to get met. Just like whenever your baby cries because they're tired, you're going to understand, oh, that means I need to put her to sleep, or baby's crying because she's hungry. You're going to intuitively know, okay, it's time to feed baby, right? Well, you're going to have a flowchart that's going to tell you exactly what emotional need your child is trying to get met so that you can support them in meeting that need. The second bonus that you're going to get is another video, and it's a video on how to talk to your child. There are a lot of ways to get your kids to open up. You know, if you get your kid in the car and your child, and you immediately ask them, how did school go today? And they shut down, stop asking them that question. We're going to ask them something different. We're going to just adore them. We're going to set the tone. You know, we're going to say, I am so happy to see you. I have been waiting to see you, and I'm so happy to see you. Give me a hug. I want to know all about what happened to you today and how you did today and anything that you want to tell me. You're going to open them up. You know, you're going to, in this video, I talk about how to have no judgment conversations. My daughter And we did this whenever she was young. She started saying this phrase, don't judge me, don't judge me. I'm going to tell you something, but don't judge me. And it just developed into having no judgment conversations where we would go out with each other and we would connect in a way where I did not judge her. You know, that did not mean that she didn't have to face consequences for whatever actions she was telling me about, but it did mean that I wouldn't get angry at her. I had a very mature response to whatever she told me, and she took responsibility. But she knew that she had the love and the care of mom behind her, you know, and that really empowers your child when they know that that their mom and that their dad loves them no matter what. And then I'm also going to do a live Q&A sometime in September within the next week or two. So you're going to have a live Q&A. You're going to have a lot of time to talk to me, connect with me, and other parents too. There's also a Facebook group, and you can go post on there. I share a lot of tips and mommy hacks on it, and it's really fun and really cool. Awesome. So I am in Houston, and it's raining and it's flooding. And it looks like I lost a little bit of a stream connection for the Facebook people, so I will be going onto the Facebook page and adding these links, and then we'll have to put the this video in there. And I'm sorry about that. I was trying to get through as fast as I could before the power went out, or in case anything happened. I can hear it raining and thundering, so I'm going to go ahead and end right now. I'm just going to double check that we don't have any more questions. Okay, we look good here. Awesome. All right, and so the email that we're going to send out tomorrow with the replay, and I'm also going to be posting this on Facebook, will have the links to the Mommy Hacks parenting class. It's also going to have the link to the free gift so that you have a new tool in your toolbox to work with your kids and support them so that they learn how to negotiate, they learn how to cooperate instead of fighting. So thank you, everyone. It's been such a pleasure. I honor you, and have a great weekend.